I want to be Peter Dinklage, and that's what
you want to be. You want to be Trask?
Yep.
He tried to kill them all.
You get to pick your side. I get to pick my side.
So let it be known, I'd be willing to sign up with a terrorist organization, and you'd want to commit genocide.
Yep.
Neither of us are in the right here.
We're not the right.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Popcorn Bucket List. Today we are talking about some of the best of enemies and friends, some of the best frenemies.
Frenemies.
In
Not the
movies.
podcast Frenemies.
Is there a podcast called Frenemies?
There is.
I should probably know that, right?
It's kind of garbage. You don't really need to
Okay, so I don't need to watch it.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's stop talking about their podcast and start talking about our podcast.
Yeah.
Not telling people to go watch something else. Watch this one here.
That's right.
Godzilla, Kong, New Empire premiering this weekend here. And so, are they one of the best frenemies of all movies? Well, we'll have to wait and see the movie, I guess, on this one here. But we're going to talk about some of the other ones here. Initially, I was going to be like, let's just talk about one or two. But as I was looking, I was like, there's quite a few here that I like. Yeah. So I opened it up to 5 each. Yep. We're each going to give a top 5 here. Usually we kind of go back and forth. I just want to kind of run down each of our 5. And I'm curious to see how many of ours are similar.
I bet they're probably similar. Somewhere.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. That's what I'm curious to see here. That's what I'm curious to see. So yeah, best frenemies in movies. These are characters that either started out as friends, became enemies, started out as enemies, became friends, vice versa, a little bit of both. Yep. You know, a very complicated, evolving relationship. Yep. All those are allowed into this discussion here. So let's just jump right into it. That's our opening spotlight here this week. Boom. Best frenemies. Ryan, why don't you knock down your top? Let's start from 5. Okay. Which is your 5th one, and then kind of work our way to your number 1 best frenemies list of all time. All right.
So just throwing up top 5 or my number 5. I'm going with a classic Marvel take. I would go with Thor and Peter Quill, because the moment that they see each other, there's that instant I'm better than you and you're better, or you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then I say we're going to Midgard, and then Thor's like, yes, let's bring the ships there. And then he's like, we're doing it because I'm the captain. Yeah. And he goes, yeah.
Yes,
sure.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, you're the captain.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
So, that.
Chris Hemsworth line reading on that is some of the funniest he's done. But
it's that whole, that their banter back and forth, and just, you can kind of always feel that tension between them, and I like that. I thought it was really good. My number 4 pick, I'm going to go with probably one that you might have, maybe or maybe not. I'm going to go with Magneto and Professor X from, I think it's X-Men First Class. Where
you could really say a lot of them. All of them. You could say all of them, really.
Yeah. It's kind of like the trope of they don't like each other, but they'll never actually kill each other or hurt each other or do anything because they're friends. And it's one of those, they respect each other so much that, so it's one of those. And you can, when I was kind of looking into this, I was going through that again, and they talked about, he took a bullet for him and why he's in the wheelchair, but he can do so. There's a lot to look into, but I really like the dynamic, and those two characters, whether it's the young actors or the older actors, they both did great. They were both awesome. Another good frenemies in film. All right, so now we're getting into the nitty gritty. So I got 3 of them for you. Okay. One that I always loved, even since I was a kid, from the first time I saw it. I would go The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, but in general, I would say all of them, and it goes back to Legolas and Gimli. And obviously, if you've seen the third one, there's quite a bit more banter between the two. But the whole thing of elves and dwarves hating each other, they even reference it in The Hobbit. Orlando Bloom's in The Hobbit, and same thing. He doesn't like the he doesn't like the dwarfs, but they work together, and just the friendly banter. Even in episode 2 when they're talking about fighting who can kill the most orcs, and then the whole it's really kind of, I don't want to say sentimental, but when they're standing at Helm's Deep looking over and Gimli can't see. And then he says, do you want me to get you a box? And like, that's like, yeah, because they're friends, but they can jab at each other.
He's burning him, but at the same time, he's almost like serious. Like, like if you want, I'll do it. I'll go get you one if you want it. Yeah. But like, at the same time, he's kind of giving him a little jab there.
And they kind of, obviously, they reference that in The Return of the King, but we won't get into that film too much yet. But yeah, I would say those 3, but of those 2, or of that, I would pick the second one just because you can really see it. You kind of see it developing a little bit in the first one, but it really expands well in the second one, and then has a nice send-off in the third one.
All right, so this is your number 2. This is your second favorite, essentially, right here.
Kind of another off-the-wall one. I'm going with Quentin Tarantino's Hateful Eight.
I think I know which one you're talking about here.
Some of my favorite characters, Samuel Jackson and Walt Goggins. He's hilarious in all the things he does. He's a phenomenal actor. I'm pretty sure he's a great dude too, from what I've read about him. But it kind of set up as in Goggins' character is he's a sheriff down in the South. And he's a very Confederate sympathizer, and Samuel Jackson is a proud officer general that was he fought in the war for the North. So, but they have this bonding together over hanging somebody,
Is it not to cut you off too much there? Is it bonding, or is it bonding over survival? Because the things kind of go the wrong way for them for a little bit there.
Some of it, I would say, bonding over survival, but early in the beginning, he doesn't say it like this, but it's kind of, I don't like you, but yes, there is a bounty for this person, or not a bounty, warrant or whatever for this person. It's my job to make sure that you fulfill that, or make sure that that nothing happens to her, or she doesn't escape, or any of that. So it's I really like that, and those 2 actors, phenomenal actors. Quentin Tarantino, great director, and I love his films, and it's just great. Then my number 1 pick, which is a movie I had to travel to see because I don't think we got it in Marshall when it first came out, but it is The Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling. With Ryan Gosling and our boy Russell Crowe. If you know, you know. South Park. It's great. It's great. And yeah, they're just complete opposite ends, buddy cop movie. They both do things drastically different, and they are working on this case together. Comedy ensues, and it's fantastic. It's a great movie. It's really funny. Ryan Gosling is his traditional self, and I always think, whenever I think of this movie, it always reminds me of the bathroom scene where they're like trying to talk to each other in the door. It's really funny. It's great. If you have the opportunity, go watch it. It's really good.
I gotta admit, there's a few here. There's a few movies that you definitely brought up, but there's a couple of frenemies that you went different routes on than I thought. I thought you were going to go a few different.
What were you thinking? What?
So, like, for your first one, Thor and Star-Lord, I thought you were going to go Thor and Loki, because I know that was kind of a popular one.
Yep.
But I would agree with the Thor and Star-Lord for sure. Like, he definitely doesn't, he from the get-go doesn't like Thor just because Gamora seems to, I don't think she's flirting with him, but it's pointing in that direction.
They're both space people, so it's
exactly.
I can't compete with that.
Stop massaging his muscles.
Yeah.
Like kind of thing. The other one was, I figured you were going to do Lord of the Rings, but the one I saw on a lot of boards was Smeagol and the
Frodo?
Two Hobbits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, essentially. Which I guess I have not yet seen the third one yet. Mm-hmm. We'll update you guys on that some other point here. We got a little something special for that, unfortunately. Special for you guys, torture for me. But yeah, no, Legolas, and I think that's the better pick there, actually.
Yeah. Oh, hands down.
I 100% think that's the better pick, because there's a whole, I don't want to use this word lightly, but like a race war between these
Yes,
two. Like
yes.
there is deep rooted hatred here, and between just the two movies I've seen, their relationship has gone leaps and bounds.
Yeah, because even in the first film, I think it's Gimli that says, "I will not see the ring in the hands of an elf" or something, and he's like, and it's like, they hate each other. They're supposed to hate each other.
Yeah.
Stereotypical norms, societal norms dictate they hate each other.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. All right, let me give you my top 5 here. I kind of based mine. I always go into these with a little bit of my own criteria, and I kind of based mine on, I guess, to put it lightly, I'd call it screen time.
Okay.
How much screen time did we see of one side of the coin compared to the other side of the coin? How much did it affect future projects or films or stories, whatever? So for my number 5 one, this one is probably the shortest amount of time that these two were frenemies. I'm going to call Rey and Kylo Ren.
Who?
From Rey and Kylo Ren from Star Wars.
Oh, is that the newer ones? The newer Star Wars?
Don't act like you were in the theater with me watching it. But you have as much of you complaints you have for those new Star Wars, and some of them are warranted. That scene in the throne room where those two work together may be one of the best lightsaber battles in all of Star Wars.
Yeah, and sorry.
No, go ahead. What was
I was
it?
just say, that's the one where they're at different places though, but they're
No.
fighting.
This is the second one, episode 8, when they've just killed Andy Serkis guy, whose character is so thrown away that I now can't even remember his name.
Andy Serkis, great guy.
Is it Snoke? It's Snoke.
Snoke. Yeah.
There it is. Yeah,
with the red and the
they're going up against the Red Guard, and they like fight side by side, and it for a split second you're like, okay, these two could have easily ended this war if they had worked together and found common ground or been on the same page. But unfortunately, because they had such dividing ideologies, it just didn't play out that way, unfortunately. But for a split second, you're like, okay, if these two had worked together from the beginning, nothing could have stopped them.
Yeah.
Luke and Vader probably couldn't have stopped them. So for my number 4, I would say Thor and Loki. Like I said, I think yours is a lot more interesting take as far as the Marvel frenemy, but just the fact that these two were brothers. And I'm also kind of including the what ifs as part of my example here, because you see in one of the episodes of What If, when Loki actually did grow up as a frost giant, these two did still become friends. So then it kind of proved the moment that Loki wasn't always trying to trick Thor. Like 90% of the time he was. Yeah. He was playing some game. But there was genuine brotherly love between the two of them. It was few and far between, but it was there. And kind of like you, my top 3, these are kind of the like real serious ones. These are the ones that are like, these are some of my favorite. And this one I debated on what position I was going to put it. Ultimately, I put it at number 3, John and Sarah Connor and the T-800 from T2. And mainly one of the reasons why I put this one in my top 5 is because I don't think they revealed it in the trailer or anything, but like if you're watching that movie for the first time, you just see the T-800 and what we later learned is the T-1000 show up in the time period. Yep. You assume Arnie is going against him again. And then there's that great plot twist where like he is caught in between the two of them, and all of a sudden the T-800 says, "Get down." John ducks and he shoots the T-1000. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. The T-800's on his side now? Yeah. And it was such this awesome plot twist, and they worked so well together, both him and young John Connor and Sarah Connor and everything like that, that it was like, it was kind of unexpected. And it was because, I guess, now you could argue technically this doesn't count because this is a different T-800 than the one that fought him in the first one, but I'm still going to count it. Because it's my list, my criteria. Yeah. Come fight me. Speaking of fighting, perfect segue into my number 2 pick, Rocky and Apollo. Ooh, from the Rocky movies.
Yeah, good pick.
You talk about screen time and everything. I mean, you had 2 movies where these guys were enemies. And I was debating between this and the John and Sarah Connor one as my 2 and 3. Ultimately, I picked this one because the T-800 in Terminator 2 is like programmed to become friendly, so he's kind of forced into it. Yeah. And this one, you see these two working together, putting their differences aside, training together, becoming friends, And then that's why it hurts so much when he dies in 4. Because already right out the gate, you see these two have built this friendship. They've become true. They've turned from rivals to true compatriots, some of the best friends. And it's in Rocky's hand to save his life. But at the same time, he's like, Apollo's never going to forgive me. There's that conflict. And Apollo.
Yeah. Whoa. Easy.
That was a metaphor. My hand was Drago and the mic was Apollo. Just, ooh. Sorry. I'm going to, that's one of the roughest scenes in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Is when Apollo falls. So yeah, I would say they're my number 2 best frenemies. My number 1 was your number 4, and I'm kind of disappointed that you didn't have this one higher, but this is my number 1, Professor X and Magneto. Mm-hmm. If you remove the comics, any TV shows, if you have all those movies, what was it, like 14, 16 total? Something like that.
Yeah, there's a ton.
This one, I think, is the most layered because they're both right. Mm-hmm. In each one of these other ones, it's kind of like, well, one has to kind of convince the other side and vice versa. And sometimes they got to kind of switch sides. Thor sometimes has to do some bad stuff to get Loki's help. Loki sometimes has to do some good stuff to help Thor. Here, they're both right. It's proven throughout these movies. Charles is like, we can live in peace. And Magneto's like, we can, but they don't want to. And they will drop you at any moment if you slip up a little bit. Say what you want about Dark Phoenix. It was not a good movie, but it did have some of those interesting points between those two. Mm-hmm. And the times, like in First Class, when they work together is when they're at their strongest. And in Days of Future Past, it shows them working together and against each other all in the same movie. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. It's one of those, it's like, if I were a mutant, I maybe would sign up with Magneto. Like, he's got some good points. I don't agree with his methods, but he's got some good points. He does. Plus, he does. Okay, yeah, you want to fight the Holocaust survivor?
No, no.
You want to go up against him? You want to go? You want to argue with him? No, you don't.
I want to be Peter Dinklage, and that's what
you want to be. You want to be Trask?
Yep.
He tried to kill them all.
You get to pick your side. I get to pick my side.
All right, if you're gonna own up to it, I mean, okay.
No,
whatever, man.
I don't. I would.
Whatever, man. Whatever, man. You do you, I guess. So let it be known, I'd be willing to sign up with a terrorist organization, and you'd want to commit genocide.
Yep.
Neither of us are in the right here.
We're not the right. Good thing we're not X-Men.
I know, right? It'd be very awkward. This one may be the most difficult one for me here. The number 6 seed, Footloose, versus the number 11 seed, Karate Kid. Who's voting Footloose? Who's voting Karate Kid? I thought I was going to have to fight for that one. I had like a whole argument ready to go.
Sorry,
he just crane kicked Footloose out of here. No more dancing.
This might be a hot take, but I think Footloose, it's good, but I think it's slightly overrated a little bit.
I'm going to get heat from my mom on that one. All right, so I want to end this one by doing something a little bit fun here. I don't know if we've ever really done this before, but I want us to make our own little pitches of frenemy movies that involve two characters who may be enemies, friends, but like we're both going to pitch our own movie, what one we want. I got a little bit of a doozy here, but I'm gonna let you go first if you want.
All right, when you first approached me and asked me about this, I thought, that's interesting. And then I went home, I sat on my thinking chair, and I thought to myself, and I came up with a plethora of ideas. Some would say maybe a gaggle of ideas. And as I was thinking, I decided one that I really liked was the classic, the nerds get revenge on the jocks. I wanted a jock, high school musical style jock, little Zac Efron, and some, I would say the out crowd as maybe the emo-ish era person to gang up on the nerdy kids and pull stuff on the nerdy kids. The straight A'ers, the honor
Wow,
rollers. That's what I want.
That was a little bit of a plot
Because
twist.
in all movies, I shouldn't say it. In most movies, it's always the nerds, the outcasts, all of them doing stuff to the jocks or the sporty types or the quote unquote popular kids, the in kids. I think it would be funny to kind of flip that and have it the cool guys, those kind of people doing stuff to the nerdy people.
Revenge against Revenge of the Nerds.
Yes, but obviously I think it would have to be like hijinks on both sides. You can't. We don't want to make a bullying movie or anything like that, but
I mean, that's essentially what those are. So
yeah,
let's be honest here. We do want to make a bullying movie. We got to put those nerds in their place.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about the comic book loving nerds that we are. We're talking
Yeah.
about just the people who only get straight A's.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, they can, let's all gang
They
up
can
on
get
them.
B's for once.
Yeah, let's all gang up on them.
Yeah.
We're coming for you. Yeah, no, that's an interesting one. That's definitely an interesting one. Because
You don't see that. You don't see that.
I would love to see the dynamic of like a super, I mean, you kind of mentioned goth, but just like the quiet person with like a jock or something like that kind of going up against a group like nerds that are kind of boisterous in their own way or whatever.
Yeah, and like if you could do it as in the handsome, good-looking captain of the quarterback team, and the quiet, doesn't say much, kind of not super well in school, going up against the honor roll student that's taking all college classes and is super smart and has friends all over. And like, how are they going to come up with ideas to be smarter than the nerdy kid? And it's just, I think could be a funny premise.
Mm-hmm. All right. Mine is, okay, so it started off as one idea, and then it just kind of kept snowballing and snowballing and snowballing. For those of you who don't, usually we shoot these on Mondays. The last few we've been shooting on Wednesday, so I pitched this idea Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So usually our thoughts are very last minute. We're almost more dangerous when we give ourselves 24-hour notice here, because if I had just gone with my first idea, it would have been all right, but this idea is crazy. This is crazy.
All right, let me hear it.
All right, so one of the biggest rivalries, in my opinion, is between Will Ferrell and Sacha Baron Cohen in the NASCAR Talladega Nights movie. But I want to go a little bit further. We're going to bring a whole multiverse of auto racing movies here, buddy. Let me tell you. All right, so, Jacques Girard, he stayed true to his word. He retired from NASCAR after Ricky Bobby beat him. Ricky Bobby, he's still racing. He's still doing good. He's becoming first. Sometimes he's becoming last because that's just how he drives.
That's how it happens.
Well, a new opportunity has come up to race in the 24-hour of Le Mans. He needs help. Jacques Girard, that's his backyard. That's his stomping ground, so he needs him. For those of you who don't know, usually when you race in those races, you usually need at minimum 3 drivers, but they're going to have 4. So we're going to have 2 rivalries here. Mm-hmm. You got Will Ferrell's character has to work together with Jacques Girard, and they have to become part of a team. Another motorsports movie, Herbie Fully Loaded. We're going to bring back Lindsay Lohan.
Okay.
Because she drove racing in that movie. Yeah. And Trip Murphy, who was played by Matt Dillon, they were rivalries in that movie. There you go. That's our 4-person team right there. That's our 4-person team. And we're going to throw in one more movie because in real life, in the 24 Hours of Daytona, Hendrick Motorsports has been creating their own Project 56, which has been their own entry in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Yep. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just kind of a test thing. So to continue the tradition of Days of Thunder, which was basically based off of Hendrick Motorsports, they are going up against Tom Cruise and his format.
All by himself.
I mean, legally he can't, but he'll do a bulk of it, and he'll have his 3 others, and they'll do their minimum. And they have to race against him in the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
I think that'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty cool.
The cast alone would break the budget here, but I mean, let's do it.
That'd be fun.
The ultimate motorsports movie. The MMU Motorsports, or it'd be the new MCU Motorsports Cinematic Universe.
Yeah,
the new MCU.
I like it. I like it.
So yeah, there we go. That's like, I don't know. We'll throw in Rowdy Burns in there too. So it's like 3 rivalries for the price of one, I guess.
I always think of the South Park where they have the race.
Okay, we don't need to.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we don't need to bring that clip.
Racers. Yeah,
we don't need to bring that clip up. So yeah, that's my pitch for a frenemy movie. But with that, let's move on here into the weekly preview where we're going to talk a little bit more about frenemies with Godzilla and Kong, the New Empire. I wonder if that picked up on your mic even.
I hope so.
Say it a little bit loud just in case.
Godzilla.
There we go. All right. So this is the latest in what is known as the Monsterverse franchise, Monarchverse, whatever you want to call it, really. So this will essentially be the 5th movie.
Yep.
If you don't count, there was also a mini series on Apple TV Plus that is canon.
Yeah, it is. Okay,
it is canon.
I haven't seen it. I don't think I have Apple TV Plus.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. But from what I understand, that is canon. It's part of the timeline. It shows a little bit of before and after and stuff like that. Okay. But yeah, this is the continuation of the series. We've seen these two fight against each other, and by the end of that one, they were already becoming frenemies. Mm-hmm. Now they have to take on a whole new threat.
Well, we got to remember who won.
Godzilla
won.
Yeah, won. He 100% won.
Godzilla won.
Godzilla won. That's not even debatable.
Yeah.
He won easily 2 out of 3 of those fights.
Yep.
And I don't even remember how Kong won the one.
I don't either. Doesn't matter.
I think Godzilla was just like, I'll give you this one.
I'll give you this one.
Whatever. I got to boost his confidence so that way it hurts even more when I beat him the next time. That's mind games right there. Anyway, so yeah, they're still not 100% simpatico. You know, they kind of left that battle like, all right, respect.
Yeah.
Let's call it a draw. But now they got to work together again to take on a whole new threat. I think we talked a little bit about this before. The trailer doesn't really show the threat.
No.
It's keeping it very much behind closed doors.
I think it's just like a bigger Kong. Like a bigger
You think it's just going to be a bigger Kong?
I think that's what it is, but I can't.
Because we were debating, we're like, well, what other big monsters in the Monsterverse have they not used yet? They used Kajira. They used Mothra.
Yeah.
Wait, did they use Mothra?
I don't know.
Actually, I don't know if they used Mothra.
Maybe that's it.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's Mothra. Could be Mothra. We're predicting. We're going to say it's Mothra.
Yeah.
Do we want to put money on that?
I don't. Yeah.
I got 5 in my pocket somewhere.
We'll see.
All right. We're going to predict it's Mothra. Because I remember during that first Godzilla movie, there was like a winged creature that looked like Mothra, but they said like, no, that's not not Mothra.
Yeah.
So it could be.
Yeah, when you're talking about when they found those like tapes or files or legends that they talk about,
So we'll have to wait and see if it is. Okay, so you're saying you think it's going to be like a bigger Kong.
I think it's like a bigger Kong.
I'm going to say it's Mothra.
Okay.
But I have a feeling you're going to be right. Because if it's Mothra, you definitely show that, I feel like, right?
Yeah.
For the marketing?
Yeah.
And they've been really keeping it behind closed doors here. Yeah. They just keep saying it's this bigger threat.
Yeah.
Something that Godzilla and Kong have never faced.
They marketed Bryan Cranston hard.
You're never going to let that go.
He was gone in 10 minutes.
You're never going to let that go, are you?
That was kind of funny, kind of wild.
Yeah. And you're never going to let that go, are you?
No.
All right. No. Fair enough. I'm kind of annoyed by that too. I know when we talked about the last Godzilla movie, the Godzilla -1, we talked about how the slow pace of Godzilla we liked a lot more. Mm-hmm. This one, he's full on running.
It's full on running.
He is 100 meter dashing.
This is like the. I was listening to somebody talk about this the other day. How the Monarch universe, if they, depending on how they want to go about it, if they want to make it a kind of turn your brain off, enjoy 2 behemoths fighting it out kind of a thing, then it could be really good. Or if it's, are they going to try and make it more serious or something that it's not and kind of take away from that, but also you have Godzilla running with King Kong next to each other. And I
know which route they're going.
Yeah. He's got an infinity gauntlet.
Yeah.
To
be fair, I do think the thinking man sort of Godzilla movie franchise is where they were going from the beginning.
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe I got from Godzilla to Kong Skull Island to a little bit in Godzilla King of the Monsters, but at that point I think that's when they started diverging into let's just have monsters beat the crap out of each other. And that's how we got Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
So I think if this is just like the ending episode of Power Rangers, but an hour and a half, I think we're going to be good here.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be good. But that's not everything coming out here this weekend. Also premiering is Steve Martin, a documentary in 2 pieces, coming to Apple TV Plus. The banjo-wielding stand-up comedian has been making people laugh since the 1960s, and he is arguably still going strong here. Has not slowed down. I want to put that in perspective here. I mean, he's been doing stand-up since, I can't remember the exact date, but sometime in the 1960s.
Yep.
So that's roughly 60 years. And I almost think he's gotten better.
Yeah.
Wait, double check my math, right? It's like 60s,
Oh, yeah.
40s. Yeah, okay. Carry the 1. Exponential. Yep. Beautiful mind this.
Yeah.
Do the lattice.
Yeah,
I did the lattice method in high school, so that's okay. Yeah, so yeah, 60 years.
Yeah.
And I think he's actually gotten better.
He's gotten better.
And that's amazing to me, because it's like, at what point every person in their profession starts slowing down. That's just part of life, but he's going faster uphill. It feels like
yeah, he's one of those guys that you can watch his older stuff and you'll still laugh, and you can watch his newer stuff and you'll still laugh. So yeah, I'm excited to see this, learn a little bit more about him. I'm gonna be honest, I like Steve Martin, but I'm not a huge Steve Martin's the best. You know what I mean? I'm not a huge fanboy for him, but I am excited to watch it just to learn more about him.
That's fine. You can have your opinion, but you're fired at the end of the day. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people are very familiar with a bulk of his work.
Yeah.
From you got the 1990s when he was doing a lot on SNL, to his movie career, to nowadays and everything. But I'll admit, myself included, I'm not really as familiar with his earlier stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think just kind of looking at some of the clips there, he was very into prop comedy. Like, I knew about it a little bit, but I didn't know.
Awesome.
It is, but I mean, I guess Steve walked so Carrot Top could trip and fall.
That's prop comedy.
Is it? No.
Okay, that's just comedy. That's just comedy.
If he put something on the ground that he tripped over, then it's prop comedy, I guess. But yeah, I guess that counts. Whatever. I don't know. I have a huge amount of respect for him. I think I'll say I think he's one of the greatest, one of the GOATs of comedy. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'd be super interested to see a little bit more about that. But transitioning into a less funny movie here, final one we're going to talk about here, The Wages of Fear, coming to Netflix. This is apparently based off of a novel that was written back in the 1950s. And it was made into a movie back then. Mm-hmm. So this is essentially a remake 70 years later.
Yeah.
Made by some French filmmakers. So this is a French foreign film here. Yeah. So we kind of talked a little bit about Godzilla and Kong, how they were kind of holding back and not showing the big monster here. Mm-hmm. And I think that's good for a trailer. You don't want to give everything away. So I'm going to sound really hypocritical when I say this. I'm just putting that out there. I'm getting in front of that. This trailer gave almost nothing.
Nothing. All they said was there's a thing on fire. You got to get there.
There's a gas pocket. You have to blow it up to stop it, which, I mean, not to push the metaphor here, but this is the old saying. This is like when you have a gasoline fire, so you throw more gasoline on it.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how it stops it.
Yeah.
But the trailer also shows them like they're very militarized. Mm-hmm. It seems like they're fighting other people. Like, are the people trying to stop them?
Yeah.
What caused? Is this a terrorist attack?
Are they going somewhere they're not supposed to be going? Like into an area they're not supposed to be going? I don't know.
Like, I get it. You, as a trailer, you don't want to give everything away, but you have to give enough to make people interested. And maybe it was just me. Maybe I was just too confused.
I think you were the problem.
Maybe I am. Maybe I am. I'm willing to admit that. If other people go watch this trailer and be like, "Oh yeah, you idiot! It's just this plot.
Can't you see?
It's Mad Max. They're going from A to B, and they got to stop the fire. Whatever. Yeah. Like, if that's the case, then that's the case. I don't know. I needed a little bit more context. Here. So I realized and look, I'm the first one to tell trailers when they've given up too much away. Mm-hmm. So again, is this me being hypocritical? Is this just me being critical in general? A little too picky? All can be true. But with that, let's move into the final segment of this show. Time for some number one recommends. I'll go first here because I noticed you have one that I was possibly going to talk about, but I'll let you kind of talk about it, and I'll maybe just add to it later on.
Yeah, but I think that's it.
I want to talk about Ted, the TV show.
Okay. Ted Lasso?
No. I think I recommended that one in the past, though. Yeah. I think. No, this one's on Peacock. It's just called Ted. It is the prequel series to the teddy bear movies that Seth MacFarlane and Mark Wahlberg made how many years ago. This one is set in the 90s, where we see a high school version of Johnny and the adventures they had when they were younger. Look, if you like the style of comedy Family Guy is, you're going to really, really, really like this show. It's got that exact same style of comedy, but it's got Ted. It feels like Seth MacFarlane, I think I read somewhere he hasn't been as involved in Family Guy. It's kind of just running on its own right now.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell with this. It's clearly he's putting all his eggs into this basket right now. He's pushing forward this project.
He'll just do the voices when they have the scripts and all that stuff ready, right?
I don't even think he's a writer on it anymore on Family Guy.
Yeah.
So he's definitely taking a step back here. He's putting more focus on this project. You could tell there are some really big laugh out loud moments. The special effects on Ted, I mean, yeah, you're only focusing on the one bear, but it's really good. Like, I believe that was a bear that was sitting next to Johnny and everything.
Yeah.
Everyone's funny in this. So if you enjoy Family Guy, if you enjoy the Ted movies, does this prequel add context? No, not really. And that's almost why I like it better as a prequel, because it's just on its own.
Yeah.
You can watch this without having to have watched the movies. You can just go in and watch this and be totally fine. So there we go. I'm recommending Ted on Peacock here this week. Ryan, why don't you talk about Ghostbusters?
Ghostbusters. That's who I'm calling.
That's who you're calling?
Yeah, no, I got to watch Ghostbusters this past week. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was really good. Comedy was great. Paul Rudd was great. Everybody in there was great. The monsters, we kind of talked about this before. They had a new idea and a new monster that they were fighting. And some of the, like, obviously, Grimer? Slimer. I always want to say Grimer. That's not
interesting.
Right. But he's back. He's funny. I think it was kind of easy to tell maybe when some of the actors were gone for a good portion of the movie, whether or not that was like scripted that way or it was how scheduling worked out. But I think overall it told a good story. Dan Aykroyd's great. I really like him. It's good to see him still out there doing stuff. Yeah, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, my big thing about when Ghostbusters Afterlife came out is I wanted to see them introduce new characters that I wanted to see take the reins. Because the old Ghostbusters, no disrespect to Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, all of them, like, they are pretty good in this movie.
Yeah,
like, overall.
they are.
But they can't do this forever. You need to, if you want to continue this franchise, you got to bring in some fresh blood into this. And I think the cast that they have is really, really good. I want to see more adventures with these guys. I want to see them keep busting ghosts.
I do too.
I want to see what else they can take on. I want to see McKenna Grace grow as a character, as an actor, and become better at that for sure. And I think Paul Rudd and the rest of that supporting cast is a really good way to help support her in that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Overall, I think approval for me as well for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Well, that's going to do it for us here on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. Mr. Meyerberg, I got a question for you. Did you fill out a March Madness bracket?
Yes, I did.
You did? How's it going so far?
Not good.
Not good.
Not good.
Did you fill out a nerd bracket this year?
Yes, I did.
Yes, we did. We did do that.
Yep.
Segue. Yeah, that's right. We already released a video last week, Nerd Bracket. Every year we do our own little special sort of bracket challenge where we talk about some sort of fandom or just something in movies and TV. This year we focused on 1984 as it is the 40-year anniversary for a lot of great 1984 movies.
A lot.
So that is up live on YouTube right now. Check it out here on this channel. I think we were surprised at ourselves at a few of the picks we did.
Too. Yeah.
Or I think we were more surprised, not so much at our own picks, but the fact that certain picks we either agreed or disagreed on.
Yeah. Yep.
There was definitely a few that I thought was going to fight on that I didn't, and then there was ones that I had to fight that I thought was going to go through.
Yep.
So go and check that out if you haven't already. But for myself and Ryan Meyerberg, I'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you at the movies.